Hello, hello. As you can see, as usual, today we're talking about Penrose. Okay, so let's cut it short. Today, whatever we are going to be talking about is just based on my own point of view and then also my research, so it doesn't represent anybody else's point of view except for my own and on my own interpretation of the data available to me. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead. This is the news of Penrose when it was launched back in 2020 September. First day it was sold 60.3%. No 300 plus units out of 566 units. It is a 99-year leasehold. It seems drive. There were one bedroom going as low as 7A. Today you cannot find this kind in the new market. And then starting from $2.11 million for 4-bedder. I think in today's market, if you are talking about 1.11 for 4-bedder, I think is I would say most people will find it quite affordable already. Everyone already know that property market is really come up quite a lot since 2020. So for those of you who still have no idea where Penrose is, it is just beside the Avenue Flyover. Then I would say it's still quite within walking distance to MRT. Just right beside Simsable, which is by the way. Later we'll talk a little bit more about this. Okay, and as usual, we will be looking at the supply in this area. As you can see, this part got no supply there. This part also no supply there. So there's not much immediate competitor other than Simsable, which is already quite a significant competitor. Because if you look at the land size, this guy is quite significantly smaller. I think almost about 30-40% smaller than Simsable, which is of course the number of units is about half the size. And then the main bulk of the competitors are down there, other than Antares right beside Mata MRT. But for those of you wondering, this one we already done a video review of this. If you want, go and watch it. I'm not going to talk about this today. So as always, I added all the supply in the area, and then you have including Penrose, we have about 5,000 plus units. So actually, this area is already quite saturated even before Penrose came in. Seems Urban Oasis is 1,000 plus units. So I think this one and three residences were the last entrance to the area. And not to mention this one lah, Antares lah. So after Sims Urban Oasis and three residences came in, they were already about almost 5,000 units, which is pretty much a threshold for my analysis. Okay. But of course, these guys, a lot of them are much smaller condos. Then again, there are still supply in that area. And then we put a few condos. We have Penrose, we have Simsable Oasis, Antares, and then three residences. Why? Because these guys are newer and they are a little bit more comparable compared to the rest. The rest are freehold and but obviously of a different kind of characteristics kind of condo. Later we'll talk a little bit more. And then something interesting to note, Simsable Oasis, right? This started in 2014, completed already in 2017. For project of this size, the lease is actually considered quite fresh. Usually this is considered quite a mega development already, since it got 1,000 over units. And then you have only 3 years already received TOP there. So that's very fresh. But for Penrose, it's only 5 years off, 5 years younger, fresher for the lease. But then the TOP is about almost 8 years apart. So that means by the time this TOP supposedly on paper maybe 2024 But let's say according to this one, that means by then it'll be 6 years old. This one is also only 3 years old. Okay, so if you ask me, then of course this one on paper, of course, it looks more attractive to most people. But now, obviously, it is already on the resale market. It is, after all, still over the resale condo compared to Penrose. And then these guys are two smaller developments, pretty similar. I already compared them in the previous videos. But today, I'm just putting them out for reference. Penrose, you can see when they first launched, right, it is actually very, very close to Simsable Oasis. I would say developers price it very reasonably, maybe because their break even was low. So they price it just above, which is I think a very reasonable, very attractive price point at that point when they first launched, because pardon my nose, a little bit allergic after cleaning the house. And there is about this one is about 1,006 I think. Okay, so almost about 1,006 PSF for Penrose entry, whereas Sims above is at that point back in September 20 Q3 lah, or Q3 2020. So at this point, the price, the average PSF difference was only like what? I think less than 100. I think only about almost 60 PSF difference. So naturally, if somebody wanted a new condo and it's okay to wait, I think no doubt people will go to this. And hence you can see the widening price gap at this point. And then after that, I think left with the not so attractive units, or the bigger units with the low PSF, and hence after that it dropped a little bit, and then it's kind of maintaining that kind of gap over here. Okay, and so if based on what I see, I would say Penrose, and when it was launched, it was launching at a very very attractive price point. Definitely I would say without a doubt, those who got it on launch day, or without any price increment lah, would have gotten a very good deal lah. Generally, of course we don't talk about the same development, then different fixing account lah. Maybe you got in at the right time, but you go and pick the wrong unit, then it's definitely a different kind of story already lah. It won't be fair lah. But those of them who got in at the start and then managed to pick the right units, I would say they will be profiting rather handsomely lah, at least a 6-figure easily lah. And then we take a look at Sims Urban Oasis. How well did it do? I would say quite healthy profits. Out of 100 plus transactions, we got quite some in the 6-figure. But the thing is, for a mega development, generally from what I see, mega development, you have quite very high profit margins. Okay, you have not parks hitting 400 plus K. You have seaside residence 800 plus units hitting 600 plus K. You have Twin View already hitting 400 plus 500K profit margin, and then you also have high park also hitting 500 plus K, and then this guy is only hitting 300 plus K. Only two of them. So if you ask me, actually, yes, the profit margins are quite healthy, but I would say rather disappointing for a mega development, because generally they tend to do quite well. And in fact, Park Star haven't even TOP now already hitting 200 plus K profit margins, and I think it's going to definitely be fetching much more. Okay, but so seeing a bit of ways, the peak runway has pretty much been cleared already, and then this is their peak profit lah. And then from what I see it, I feel perhaps I feel that could be because of the the stigma of the location lah. Okay, those of you who are still not very familiar, people were generally still quite close to Geylang. Of course, Geylang got different lorongs. They are not so, they are a little bit more infamous, but then it's generally okay. But it's the stigma I feel that is affecting people. Because after all, this is actually quite a good location for Sims Super Oasis. You have we don't talk about just beside the expressway lah. You have MRT over here. And then you have lots of food option, obviously, and then you have school. But then the thing is, I think people generally, especially families, they don't really like they don't really like the idea of being near here lah. And like I mentioned, location is awesome. It's very close to town. You just go further in and then that's it. You are really reaching town already. This is after all RCR product, and then RCR transacting today at this kind of price. I think there's really nothing much to complain lah. Okay, for this is Penrose transacted prices. We have 1,000, generally about 1,005 PSF on average, because you see main part of the volume is here lah. So obviously I weigh more a little bit down on the line, and then yes, the PSF went up, but then the volume was not as high until later half of last year, when all the land bids, all the land sales start coming in, and then people started realizing, hey, wow, Penrose at 1,500, 1,600, show in lah. That's how basically people behave. The existing lodges will take some time to clear, because over time people realize that the new ones are going to be definitely more expensive because of increasing land price. And if you don't get the existing launches, then what are you going to be waiting for, right? And then we take a look at Penrose, the three bedder, the smaller three bedders. I think three bed compact. This one is a road facing. Okay, obviously, if given a choice, if it's same price, road facing versus pool facing, everyone will be choosing the pool facing. But if there's a big difference in the gap in the price PSF or the overall quantum, then naturally I think when it's like, oh, you ask me to face the road, but I pay 200K lesser or 300K lesser, people may actually end up paying it. That is how it works, and hence because you see actually, if I'm not wrong, even Sims above overseas, you have quite some road facing actually making quite some money. Okay, for those who are wondering, in today's market, it doesn't mean that you got one nice facing, nice park facing, or pool facing, you're gonna be making money. On the other hand, this is actually for most cases quite contrary. Anyway, this is the road facing. This is the express, not just normal road, expressway facing three bedder. You look at the price, they were transacting at 1,004 plus. They were basically transacting very close or almost at, or even lower some of the units at Sims Overseas at that point of time. You can see the first day, almost the weekend itself, all the units gonna wipe up for this stack. Okay, and then you have a 3-bit now. Now this is what is 3+ study lah. 3+ study, and then obviously bigger. But on the other hand, usually the smaller ones last time, or this one is lower PSM, is higher PSM, and now it becomes lower. Now it becomes higher PSF, 3+ study. Okay, and then this one is the, if I'm not wrong, this one is the internal facing. Okay, and then you look at the price. This one is still available for sale. So the balance unit now is about 94 to 95%. So this is the remaining about 5+% stock, including some of this. And then how much are they asking now? This one is a lower floor that this guy bought at this price. Okay, on the very cool on launch day. Basically, he's the only guy that bought it. Imagine for almost 1 year, he's the only guy that bought it. He's scared or not? He confirm scared. But thankfully, he committed, and thankfully, he had the guts to do it. Because I think everyone will be, wow, now last time people think that he's a fool. Now everyone thinks a hero, man. That's always how it works for those who make their move in a good development. I mean, everyone will say siao. At the end of the day, 1 to 2 years later, they realize, why these guys buying so cheap? Not fair, that kind of thing. But last time, remember, they say they siao. So the whole cycle repeats again and again and again. It's like we've seen this too many times already. And so this guy came in on launch day, said, now, okay, you got a unit, be the brave guy, committed. And now today, just 1.5 years, basically, I think lesser than 1.5 years. 1.5 years later, the guy below him is likely going to be paying 88K more for 3+ study. Only one floor lower. One floor lower should be paying lower, right? But he's paying 88K more. And I believe this is definitely gonna go. After within the next few months, this unit is definitely going to go either at this price or even at a higher price. Okay, why? Because in today's market, how are you going to get this kind of location with this kind of price already? But is it still a good deal? That one, I'll leave it to later. And then we look at the 4 bedders. This one is almost 1,004 square feet. Okay, I had to clear out the unit numbers for confidential purpose. So this guy bought, okay, also on the same day, also on the same launch day. Launch day, bought at this price, and then now 2 floors lower, 2 floors lower compared to this guy is asking 143K more. And like I said, I believe this is gonna move. This is definitely gonna move. It's just a matter of time, whether how long is it gonna take, how long more is it gonna take, and developers, are they gonna reduce the price? I think highly unlikely, because they're already 5% plus so, and then they got a lot of years ahead to sell. They even got ABS, they even have an ABSD extension because of COVID, a few extensions some more. So they can take their own sweet time to sell. When TOP comes in, the flat is ready, the unit is ready. People can go in and take their time to see. Then I don't see why people will be paying this kind of price at that point. Maybe let's say 2024. 2024, everything will be OCR will be costing at least about 2,000 plus, 2001, 2002. PSF. How can this guy stay at this price? This is unlikely. I think within next few months, this guy is probably gonna go. Okay, but like I mentioned, doesn't mean that it's a good deal now. Just because you buy today at a cheaper price, you get access to this unit at this 1,007 plus. Next time, are you going to be selling all 2002? I think highly unlikely. Because given how Simable Oasis perform, right beside, I really don't think so. But if you ask me whether can these guys who bought beforehand make money, I would say definitely yes. They are going to be making quite a lot of money, I would say. But is it half a million? I really don't think so. I would say maybe I'll be looking at maybe 300K for those who got in early at a good price. And then if you out of this 300K, if you ask me whether got round way to go, it really depends on what stage and what price that you're getting in. So and then if you're asking, Penrose really Hendakaki me? Not really, because if you look at the master plan, you have these two pieces of land still not they are zone residential, but they are not up for bidding yet, and it's still an open space. So is this going to be a 1 mega condo, or is it going to be split into two different parcels, one bigger, one smaller one? That we don't know. Okay, but if they launch, they are likely to be launching at a higher price given today's market sentiment, unless they are going to next time government is going to be launching it at a lower during a buyer's market, and then maybe that will affect the prices. But if they are going to be launching at a seller's market like today's environment, then likely it's going to end up it's likely going to be pulling up the prices of both. But how much is it going to be? That really depends. It really depends. It doesn't mean that just because you launch beside, maybe who knows, maybe it's just gonna be maybe the developers are gonna do another Penrose over here, and then just gonna be launching slightly above Penrose, which they may do so. And then guess what? Penrose is basically screwed like seems above, which is there's always a, plus and minus point. Okay, while other places maybe I'm more confident. Here I'm not exactly confident because this guy didn't really make that much of a profit. Okay, and because of the area, that's maybe possibly, I'm not saying that it's a conclusion, but possibly because of the stigma of the location. Okay, but so anyway, so if you ask me, my conclusion for Penrose, I would say, when they first got in, I believe those who got in at 1,004 even for 3 bidders, they are getting a very good deal, and they'll be easily looking at 200, 300K profit. I think very comfortably. But if you are looking to enter today, after all the price increment, definitely you will be getting at a early bird price. But are you willing to accept it? And if you are looking to maximize your investment, is this going to be the best investment tool that you can be putting your money in right now? I don't think so. I think there are better places to put your money in right now. Because after ultimately we remember, if a development only have 5%, only have about 5% stocks left, how much runway is it gonna be having left for them to push out the price? Whereas you have some developers are maybe 50%, they start pushing out the price already. So they got another 50% to run out the price for you. And then within this 50%, how much can they run up for you? Whereas compared to this guy only have 5% to run up for you. Which one is gonna work better for you? So all these you have to weigh the pros and cons. But then again, like I mentioned just now previously at the start, I personally feel that Penrose is a very nice location. It's a very, not saying nice, it's a very central location in Singapore. Definitely quite accessible to most places. It's just that not every family is okay to stay in that environment. If you ask me, I've been to lectures. I don't know. I'm not the kind that maybe I don't grow up there, so I don't really have vibes around the area. But if I look at the numbers, whether he's going to make money, like I mentioned already, I think people who got it early and got it at a good price are going to be making money. But if you're looking today to maximize your investment, like I mentioned, I think you may want to look elsewhere. Okay, where else to look? Then just drop me a text, and then I'll go and I'll sort out for you. But of course, if you have other plans, then please go ahead. And I think that's all we have for today. If you have any other queries, then like I mentioned, drop me a text, PM me, any other methods, and then I'll see you around. See you guys. Bye bye.